Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Hello, fashion players, fashionistas. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's edition of the Fashion Blueprint. Coming to you live from Brand Live in Melville, 27 boxes. We get brands talking. We're talking fashion, talking all things fashion and entrepreneurial. Happy to come and chat to you today about all the exciting things happening in the world of fashion. I'm not alone, rolling with my partner in crime. How's it, Scully?
I'm fine, Maslangwe. Yes, I am here live and direct, 27 boxes, Brand Live, fashion blueprint, 8th of December 2017, as we draw a close to the end of the year, and just wanted to know what is happening in the world of fashion.
Well, there's lots of things happening, but what's top of mind now, we are in the thick of 16 days of activism against violence on women and children. And yesterday we went to Cape Town to launch the final of the programs that seeks to address gender-based violence.
What is the project called?
Well, it's the Orange Project, and you might ask why fashion? Why are we talking?
Because that's my question exactly. In that, you know how people perceive fashion. They think that we're very arrogant, very shallow. We really don't want to make any contributions except for our own design and creative contributions. So how is fashion playing a role in the 16 days of activism against women and children abuse?
For starters, if you think of the costs of gender-based violence to the economy, it is reputed, actually let me find you the stats here, it is reputed that gender-based violence costs the country in excess of, they were talking billions. I just gotta find it here. And while I look for that, what is great about the project is that it's really using fashion as a tool to emancipate women from dependency from their partners.
Right.
If women are able to provide for the families and themselves,
so this is a multifaceted approach.
Yes. And if you think that many of the households in South Africa are headed by females, so it does make sense that we should address gender-based violence so that the society can move ahead.
Okay.
So we had an amazing lady. I think she's my new hero. I found a new hero yesterday. The Deputy Minister of Social Development. What an incredible lady. She told her story. Who could have guessed when she was going through what she was going through that this is where she would be today? A similar story, women in the room could relate. You had the CEO of Edcon there, who was the first actually male in South Africa to sign for the He for She campaign, which is a UN-based initiative that seeks to bring awareness to men that gender-based violence is not a woman-only problem. It's not a problem to be dealt with by women. It's all our problems. So we need to deal with it as a society. And so he was the first one to sign. So he was sitting in the audience. It was really a great moment to hear the story of the deputy minister, who is also partially blind. It was incredible how she taught herself how to read, how at the age of 17 she was raped, had an unwanted child, could not go to school, like she didn't have enough already. Here she was, and look where she is today. And those were words of great inspiration, because you had women there who've been on this Edcon project, which is a great partnership between private business, government, and the fashion industry. So as the council, we helped mentor these women.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What does the actual project entail?
Well, what happens is you've got women that are in shelters.
Right.
They sit in shelters for 3 months. They've run away from home for whatever reason or circumstances, and they do nothing. They can't go out because some of them need security and protection from situations they're running away from. And one of the things that we did with our partners was to train them. A company like Edcon was able to donate machines with social development, And so we came as the industry to train them. Because as we often say, what's amazing about fashion is the fact that, within 3 months, you can take a person who's got zero skill.
Right.
And within 3 months, they're able to make a living. And this was the rationale.
Okay, so what sort of garments or what were they designing? What were they making?
Well, basically, it's, from fashion to interior. What is exciting is that having a partnership with a local chain store, it also provides them with an avenue. It's one thing for you to get trained, but you don't have access to the market. So what we're celebrating is the fact that you take them from the start to the end. So they had the training in the shelters, they had the mentorship that helped them to fine tune the products. From something like you move them from being a dressmaker to being a designer, but not everyone wants to be a designer. There's also a great avenue for interiors, as we saw some of the cushions that they made. And I think there's also a great gap in the local industry in terms of accessible, beautiful local interiors. You see the most beautiful of them in the 5-star lodges.
So tell me something. How did this affect the confidence of the women? Because I can imagine, you're sitting in a home. You never thought your life was going to be like this. Your husband, your boyfriend is searching for you. Obviously, he can't get to you. What was the impact there?
Well, for starters, if I may just read you these stats, quite shocking stats. It says 3 women per day are killed by an intimate partner. 40 to 50% of women in South Africa have suffered intimate partner violence. 300,000 women are raped each year in this country. SA has 5 times the global average in female homicide rates. 1 in 9 rapes are reported. And that's the stat I wanted to talk to you about. So it costs our economy between 28.4 billion and 42 billion.
Unbelievable.
Each
say that
year.
number. Just say that number again. 28
between
billion.
28 and 42 billion is the amount gender-based violence costs South Africa each year.
So it's traumatic.
Of course.
The ladies are missing work.
Of course. And these are stats that are compiled by the UN Women. They go around the world looking after the interest of women. So what is exciting about this project is that it addresses one of the economic aspect. But at the same time, when we started with the women about 2 years ago, it's been really incredible to watch them blossom. For instance, you heard Tato speaking yesterday. Tato is one of the beneficiaries of the project. We were given gifts yesterday, like this beautiful neck piece which Tato has made. She made 200 of them for all the guests. So Tato is now able to earn a living.
Yes.
And you were talking about confidence.
Also sustainable living. These beads are unbelievable.
I mean, this is exotic.
This is someone that had no skill, and now they, this you can just sell anywhere.
A unique South African product that nobody else can create.
Global tradition, local
well,
trend
they'll
once
fake
again.
it, but the thing is, she created it.
Coming from
local,
a good place.
And you can see with the orange colors, and she really told her story. I think she's a born speaker. She's a good example of when you talk of the self-esteem, because you can only imagine what happens when you're in that situation. I mean, we're not trained experts, but we hear the stories, we feel. We know what.
No, for me, it was just unbelievable too. Like you said, you get people that are broken. They literally, their lives are in tatters. There was another young lady who had been at the shelter for 6 months. She was so grateful. She was crying. She was emotional. She was saying that, look, she's not really educated, but now with the skills that we have given her, she wants to work and start her own project now. And not only start the project for herself, but start for the other ladies who were in the Cape Flats as well. Because, as much as, we were talking about abuse, a lot of people came out and came forward. Even the MC herself spoke of, her
really
trauma.
Amazing, yeah.
And how she has had to recover and the fact that she was being inspired by these ladies who had gone through this traumatic experience and trying to put their lives back together again.
I think something good is happening. If you also just link it to global events, when you hear of what the developments that are happening in the US entertainment industry, where
even US politics.
US politics too, where couch casting has become the norm for women to have to trade favors to get ahead. And what's incredible now is that women are being given a voice, and women and men, to say, no, we will not take it. No, we don't have to. You can go to a place and report, and no, you will be taken seriously and not be seen as a nuisance.
Now, the
if you
scary
link
thing
it-
is so many people living with so much pain.
Sure. So if you link it back now, if women can be economically independent, then they don't have to always go and ask for favors for men. And this is our interest. And this is where fashion comes into that. So these women, the local ones that are in the shelters, they're trained on entrepreneurship. They're trained on the basic skills on retail, and what's also great about it, about the partnership between private business like Edcon, the council, independent designers. I mean, they had the best mentors. They had JJ Skuman, they had the David Lales, they had they had. They could still have more access
In Cape Town and Durban.
in Cape Town and in Durban. They had, so it's happening in 3 provinces. The Orange campaign, it was launched in Joburg. They had Durban-based designers who were excellent. We were fortunate to be able to travel around and see the project, really come together. And what's nice about this partnership is that not only do they get trained, but it's accredited training, because they're working with accredited institutions like the Council and Sue Africa, and they also get an opportunity to supply Adcon. So you are given hope.
Yes.
No, unlike many projects where they will train you, give you the skill, which is still good, but now you have a way. You have a way of selling your products. You can really become independent and teach. And the whole idea is that we want you to make it multiply in your family.
Yes.
Teach the
because
kids.
like you said earlier on, I think it's one thing to be given the training. Okay, so what happens after training? And I
How
think
do you make money? How do
it
you
gives
live?
giving these people an opportunity to market access, which is something that designers battle with all the time in this country. I think is a wonderful opportunity, and also a show of faith.
It's really an award-winning program. Adcon has won many accolades for it. For instance, they won they were awarded the public-private partnership category. Best service excellence awards by the Gauteng Premier. Because it's the first, well, not the first time. It's one of those partnerships that demonstrate how well linkages can function when you've got government, you've got a private business, you've got the industry, and you've got everyone coming together. And the consumers, obviously, this is the whole thing, that you need consumers to support the products. You need the drive. You need people to walk into Edgar's and choose certain products because they can see that they're locally made. And other retailers, and we hope that it will encourage others to join now, to join in, like Woolies and all the others, because Edcon has set themselves some really high targets. We talk about that after the break. They're saying 60%, I think it's 60% in a year's time will be locally produced. That's unheard of in the last couple of years. So there's something to look forward to all entrepreneurs.
brandlive.co.za.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to the Fashion Blueprint. We get brands talking. We're talking all things entrepreneurial and all things fashion. Today we're excited about the Orange campaign, as we are in the thick of 16 days against violence on women and children. A great partnership that sees the UN, Adcon, the fashion industry get together and find solutions. It's really about what really makes this program also quite different from all the other projects out there, is that it really focuses on the prevention much more than the treatment or dealing with situations once a person has been violated. It's how do we train women? How do we train women to be independent? How do we train them not to find themselves in those situations? How do we set it up so they can have their independence, they can have their sense of worth, their self-esteem? What puts women in these situations? And that's what's really exciting. And we're using fashion because, fashion with compassion. We also
Fashion
understand.
with compassion. I like that one.
We also understand that everyone in the world has a clothing budget. Everyone. So it's a question of how do we redirect those budgets? That's really our preoccupation and reason to be. How do we redirect those budgets back to us? How do we get our consumers to support the local industry? And I think it is through initiatives like this where we really show them what is the use of buying South African products. Why choose Edcon over possibly a foreign brand like
Zara.
H&M? No offense, love the stuff, but yeah, you got to look after yourself. And yes, and well, I mean, companies like Zara, they do employ a lot of people locally, but Edcon employs more. So you need to just also think and balance things out. We got to think of where this goes. And so we really celebrate the project, and we hope that it will expand to the other provinces. At the moment, it's Gauteng, it's Cape Town, and it's KwaZulu-Natal, and the support has been really amazing. I mean, we've seen social development come on board, help where they can, offer resources, and so many other people who come and say, listen, we want to help. How do we contribute? We're not looking for money. This is also one of the interesting things. How many people out there are willing to help? And I think women should take advantage of it. As we said, we've seen the results. We had Tato there speaking. She is now developing her own product, but besides being an amazing designer, I think she's a born speaker. I cannot wait to see her speak at the UN conference. We watched her speak in Selrose. I think we traveled down with the head of Global UN Women, another proudly South African lady, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, to launch the project in Durban, and she was dazzled. We were sitting there, she was dazzled by Tato. And I think I foresee.
Also interesting to see how far Tato's come in the last year.
Yes, I mean, for us, you watch them blossom from a time when they could hardly voice their opinions. Now they can tell you what they like and what they don't like, which is great. And one of the most important things that the deputy minister said yesterday was, as blind and as pregnant as she was at the time with the father who didn't want the child, she put a price on her life and said, she defined it herself. She said, this is what I'm worth. I will not take less than what I have. I will not take less than what I want. Well, as I often tell the kids that, you might all be lying in the gutter, but others are looking at the stars. So basically, where you are doesn't necessarily define you. It's not the end. I mean, you here today,
That's it. It's about having a vision, sticking to your vision, forgetting about, what your circumstances are, because in the end of the day, the world owes us all nothing.
Yes.
It's all about how we can make our lives better, how we can empower ourselves.
How we can help each other, how we can use what we have. What was also interesting also about yesterday is I think it's nice when you see that side of business that shows love and compassion, that really understands that, for a business to thrive, it's part of the society and the community, and you need to look after the community if you want to have customers. It becomes common sense. And so it's really exciting. We also like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Benny Brooks, the outgoing CEO of Edcon, who has taken the industry quite seriously. We've worked with him, and he's an Australian guy with great vision. And we also met the incoming guy, who's also got great vision. And it's great that they've taken it upon themselves to lead.
I think also Edgar's should be commended for the work that they're doing also as an organization. A large part of their production, 80%, 90% was coming in from overseas. If you think of the turnaround in the last 2 years,
yes,
they're currently sitting on 50% of all their production, which has been manufactured in South Africa. Next year, they're taking it to 60%. And who knows, And
also what's exciting is we also have a group of designers who went through the 21 Steps Challenge to Retail, who are going to be selling through Edgar's. It's a great move. We welcome that. We also look forward to setting up the women with these designers, this crop of designers that's coming out. So to see what collaborations can come out of there, because now they have the market, they have the platform. We just need to get the consumers behind them. We need to get the public to support them. Let everyone know why local. They are also proudly South African. Proudly South Africa is behind it as an organization. So it's really exciting. I mean, for us, we've watched the industry for the past 17 years and watched things happening in silos. When you start to see the thing being
How
stitched,
things are
getting
connected.
stitched together. Everyone is understanding that you cannot do things alone. You know that there's so much to be done. You cannot do things alone. And if people aren't so worried about the credit and this, who's going to get credit for the work, things really move forward. And it's exciting. People are giving. There's a lot more giving because we understand the collective good of giving and contributing. And it's exciting to be a part of that.
Now, tell me something. As chairwoman of the Gauteng Fashion Council, how does this make you feel?
Like I say, when we started out and we had to, there was, to speak of a South African fashion luxury industry was local, based on local design, was far-fetched, quite foreign. And to watch the developments, to watch the number of people that have come through. I go to parties and I meet people who are like, yeah, I'm like, oh, it's a lovely skirt. They're like, yeah, no. One of your former designers or former seamstresses now sews for me.
Right.
And they look at me feeling all guilty, and I think I must have done something right.
No,
So
sure.
for me, it's exciting. I've watched the industry grow. There are lots of examples. When we got in the industry, we were buying a Shweshwe meter for 17 Rand. It's now 16 at 55 Rand. No other fabric is appreciated that much. It tells you something about the changes that are happening at grassroots level. You see when we go to the fabric shops, who's buying. Those mamas are spending like 2,000 at a go on local fabrics, on Shweshwes.
That's unbelievable.
And you don't see it happening with the other fabrics. And like I say, the appreciation of the price should tell you something, the demand. Even silk has not appreciated that much because the demand has remained relatively steady. So there's lots of amazing things that are happening, but once again, the stories need to be told. The stories need to be documented. This has been a problem that we can't clone these amazing stories because nobody knows that they're happening. There's great developments, and it's one of the things that as a council we are passionate about. And we work with other creative industries like film, Gauteng Film, so we can follow these stories.
And what does the future hold for South Africa in terms of fashion as a whole? Where does South Africa fit in terms of the global map now?
Well, I think South Africa is in an exciting place in the sense that precisely because we have not made the significant inroads internationally, it presents an opportunity for us to do it right, to clean up houses, but at the same time, speed to market. If people are going to sit back and take long, other people will run with ideas. You saw with the Basotho blanket what Louis Vuitton did, and people were quite sore, but you can't be sore about it. It's globalization. If you don't...
Free and open market,
it works both ways. The same way you've got access to global markets, they've got access to your ideas too. And it's really for us to own them and
present them in the best
monetize them, own them, and protect them jealously, guard them. Otherwise, if it's free and fair. All's free and fair in love, right?
Wow. As we go into Christmas, as we go into celebrating times, as we go into the 16 days of activism against women and child abuse, as someone in fashion, I'm just so happy that I was able to make my own contribution, contradict the stereotype of just being a fashion designer for the sake of being fashion designers. They're beautiful clothes. We're born into a world of beautiful clothes. But now how
does fashion make a difference?
Yeah, exactly. What is the impact in the end of the day?
And that's what it's really about for us. It's fashion as a tool, fashion as an instrument. How can fashion better lives? It's one thing to walk around looking beautiful, and then what? When it starts to impact others, when it starts to make others feel good because you look good, it cheers them up, or economically, that's what's really exciting. Not that you shouldn't be creative or beautiful, there's still aesthetic value there, but come on, let's see what we can do. We
Okay, and that is the fashion blueprint for today, Friday the 8th of December 2017. As we head into Christmas, we just wanted to wish everyone a fantastic festive season. We will be back next week talking all things fashion, the business, the style, and the flow of fashion here in Jozi to Cape Town. Thank you very much. I'm not alone. My partner in crime.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the time. Thank you to Brand Live. Thank you to our crew in the studio. You guys are great. Thank you for making our lives easy. You know, this is your world. We just come to talk fashion and all things entrepreneurial. And we count on your support. See you next week. Fashion Blueprint signing out. Thank you guys. Happy weekend. Cheers.
Audio preview.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za